Hey folks, how you all doing? So I'm back. This is my first music related video for a couple of weeks, since just before I had my hand surgery. So yeah, it's good to be back with something musical. It's nothing too complicated. It's actually a thread response. This is for Christian at Front to Back Vinyl. He's got a cool thread going. It's 3x3 thread. Someone had a 4x4 thread not long ago, and I did part of that. But this is a 3x3. So he wants you to show 3 artists, 3 albums over 3 decades. You could do it if they were in various bands, for example, or all of one group, or all one solo artist. So I'm guessing you could do, say, Buffalo Springfield, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and either have Stephen Stills or Neil Young, or you could have Beatles, then 2 George Harrison albums, or whatever you want to do. Pink Floyd and Dave Gilmour album, for example. But anyway, I've decided to do 3 artists here, 3 that probably won't get shown. That's my enjoyment of going in these threads, trying to pick 3 artists that I don't think others will show. So off we go. Going to start with George Harrison, actually. 1968. This is his Wonderwall music album. This was his debut solo album. It's avant-garde, it's electronica, it's a lot of studio noises. It's basically a load of crap. Christian didn't say we had to like the albums. It was just 3 albums from 3 decades. So he released 2 of these sorts of albums. In the 1960s there was that one, and this one here, Electronic Sound, which was his second album. This was 1969. The one I'm showing is 1968, the debut. The only reason I actually picked George Harrison was because I've actually got all his vinyl out at the moment. I'm just going through them. I'm enjoying them again. But yeah, there's nothing to really like on this one. Electronic and ambient musicians like Vangelis, Jean-Michel Jarre, Rick Wakeman, also another one who done on them sorts of electronic types. Synthesized albums were actually all influenced by these 2 George Harrison albums back in the day. Not that these are any good, but they were sort of the start of a genre. And I guess George Harrison didn't know where to go with it because there was nothing previous to it in the rock industry. So there's that one I'm going to show you. I'm also going to go to the 1970s. I try to pick albums even by an artist, so if someone does do the artist, generally they would pick, say, All Things Must Pass, for example, and certainly Cloud 9, and I don't know, George Harrison from 1979, or even Somewhere in England. But I try to pick albums as well that I don't think others would pick. So I'm picking Extra Texture. This one's from 1975. It was his 6th studio album. This is the only one of his studio albums as a solo artist not to feature any spiritual or religious themed songs. So that's the only reason I picked this one, just because it's something different. It often gets dismissed by a lot of fans and comes in at the bottom of rankings. This one did have You. The song You was the biggest hit off the album. It wasn't a big hit, but it's the most well-known song. I really like this album because it's just full of brass instruments and saxophones. I think it's great from that level, and the music, it's really uplifting, so to speak. But yeah, a good album by George Harrison. The third one I'm going to pick is another one that usually ends up at the bottom of everyone's rankings, apart from the 2 electronic albums. And we're going to go to 1982 with his 10th studio album, which I was actually listening to this one today. This is Gon Troppo. Musically, it's happy, it's bubbly, it's light and breezy, it's very summery. It's just, musically, it's just a very light album. Summer, it has a summery feel to it. Lyrically, it's positive as well, but it's actually probably the worst selling album of his career, apart from the first 2 electronic albums, because George Harrison just he refused to do interviews for it. He refused to make videos for the songs, for the singles. Just refused to promote it in every way. He just didn't want anything to do with what the record label were asking him to do. I think it's actually quite a good album. It's nowhere near his best, but it's certainly not his worst album. My two favourite tracks on here are Greece, which is almost fully instrumental, but he does speak some words in Greek in the middle of the song, which is really good. And a song called Circles, which he originally demoed back in the White Album recording sessions, but never got to finish it. And I think that's a fabulous song which closes the album. Next up, my second artist, I'm going to go for, you guys know that Lynn is a huge fan of this artist, and I'm getting to become a bigger fan than what I was, and that's Prince. So this is his debut album. This was released in 1978. He just turned 20 when this album was released. It was recorded over a period from when he was 18 to 19. And, you know, a lot of people go on about, you know, Paul McCartney being the first rock star to play all the instruments, do all the vocals, all the writing, all the production on an album, i.e. McCartney. But don't forget, Paul McCartney was 28 years of age then. He'd already released 13 albums as part of the Beatles. This guy did this age 18, 19 on this album, his debut album. He wrote all the songs, he played every instrument, he did all the vocals, all the production, everything as an 18 to 19 year old. Absolutely great. I think this is a really, really strong album for a debut. One song I'm not overly impressed with on here, but overall I think this is a really, really strong debut, and it showed certainly what was to come from Prince. The second one I'm going to show you from the 1980s here is an album I've never shown on my previous channel or this channel, because everyone seems to show it, but I will on this occasion because I've never shown it, and it's Purple Rain. This one comes from 1984. It was his sixth studio album. It was the soundtrack to the movie of the same name. Let's Go Crazy, obviously the title track, I Would Die For You, When Doves Cry. Mega hits off this album, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it's a brilliant album, but Prince has released a lot more better albums than this, in my opinion, which leads me on to the 1990s. We go to 1996 here with his 18th studio album. This is Chaos and Disorder. By the time this was released, Prince was basically, I wouldn't say a washed up has-been, but MTV weren't interested in him. None of the music channels were. Radio didn't play him anymore. But this is actually my favourite album by Prince from any stage in his career. It's full of the R&B, bluesy, funky type stuff you expect from Prince. But it's just an absolute brilliant album. If you want to check one of these songs out, check out Dinner with Dolores. Absolutely brilliant. But this whole album is incredible, and that album cover is just absolutely fantastic. The third artist I'm going to look at is an artist who I recently did a rankings video of all 16 of his studio albums, and whom the artist in question actually saw the rankings video and put it on his own Facebook page, and we are talking about Leo Sayer. So from the 1970s, I'm going to pick his debut album, Silverbird. Great singer-songwriter stuff. The Show Must Go On was the hit single off this album. Great album. This album would probably be mid-range from his career from me, from the rankings video I did. But yeah, absolute fabulous album by Leo Sayer. So yeah, go back and look at my rankings video and let me know what you think, because Leo Sayer himself actually promoted it on his own Facebook page. And Lynn and I are actually meeting Leo Sayer in 2 weeks time on the 12th of September at a show we're going to, as arranged with his tour manager. So yeah, I guess sometimes these artists do get to see what fans do, and they appreciate it. I think Lynn actually forwarded something to him as well. It might have been that Rankins video actually, which got his attention in the first place. Anyway, we'll go to the 1980s now. We've done the 70s. We'll go to the 80s. I'm not going to pick Endless Flight or Just a Boy, his two most famous albums. I'm going to go to 1982 here. World Radio. This one comes from, this is ninth studio album. This one has the big ballad, Have You Ever Been in Love, which was also on the follow-up album called Have You Ever Been in Love. Heart Stop Beating in Time was the other hit off this album, and that was written by the brothers Gibb for Leo Sayer. Fabulous soft rock pop album by Leo. Then we'll go to the 1990s. Leo Sayer only released one album in the 1990s, and he sort of dropped off the radar for about 15 years. So we'll go to list 1990, Cool Touch. This was his 11th studio album. He then had a 15-year break. Just a cool soft rock album as you would expect from Leo Sayer. Yeah, he did record a load more material in the early 1990s, but some of that never got released actually until late last year around Christmas time, and he released this album called 1992, which is a collection of 8 songs that were recorded around 1992, so just after the time this one was recorded, and that's a really, really good album also. So, yep, Christian, that is my 3x3. Hope you enjoyed it, mate. Hope anyone else that watches it enjoys it. And go and look at my Leo Sayer studio albums rankings. Leo was impressed himself, so you may be as well. And you may learn a bit about his music other than the hits that you know from the early to mid 1970s, going into the late 70s. Anyway, Christian, I've obviously resubbed back to your channel. Now I've weaved my way through everyone, and I'd like to thank Morten Nastad for turning me onto this thread as a response within half hour of you putting it up initially. So hope you enjoy this one, Christian. Till next time, folks, stay safe, take care. All for now, catch you around, and bye, folks.